Hello, hello. So it's time for a movie and TV show wrap up. Three of these were actually finished in 2023, but then the other two I did watch this year, 2024. I got five to talk about. That's kind of generally my cutoff. I try to keep it at five. It's one TV show, four movies. Two of these are rewatches in some capacity. The first thing is a rewatch TV show, and that is Gekun Shoujo Nozaki-kun. This is season one. It's the only season we got, which is fucking tragic. This is the funniest manga and anime I've ever read or watched. I do have the manga. There are 14 volumes? 14 volumes out right now. And they're still coming out about one a year, which is kind of slow for a manga, but it's so goddamn worth the wait. This series, okay. It follows this girl named Shio Sakura, and she is in love with this motherfucker right here. His name is Umitaro Nozaki, and he is tall, he's handsome, he's really like kind of serious, and she is in love with him because on the first day she was late and he helped her, he saved her, and he's just so stoic and wonderful. And one day she decides she's gonna do it. She's gonna ask him out. And instead of saying, I like you, I have a crush on you, anything like that, she says, I'm your fan. I've always been your fan. Unfortunately for her, Mr. Nozaki here is a shoujo manga writer, and he thinks, because he's not secret about it, just nobody ever believes him, he thinks that she wants an autograph. So he gives her an autograph, and she ends up starting to help him with his shoujo manga, and there's a wide cast of hilarious characters. There's Miko Shiba, who is this portrayed originally as this playboy, but he is so awkward and he's just repeating lines that he's heard in dating sims, and he gets so flustered all the time. There's the prince of the school, Kashima, who's a woman, and she's so flirts with all the girls. And there's more. It's a great show with a great cast. This is from 2014. I watched it as it was coming out when I was in high school. And no, it's hilarious. This show makes me just cackle. It's so funny. The manga's even better. But yeah, no, this was a great rewatch. I'm really happy that I have a DVD of it now, because now I can watch it forever and no streaming service can ever take it away from me. I do watch primarily DVDs or VHS tapes, because again, I don't want streaming services to take stuff away from me. I like having physical stuff. I like a collection, and I like knowing that it's gonna be here, because it takes me 7 years to finish TV shows, and it takes me 7 years to decide I want to watch a movie and stuff like that. So one of these is off of Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is the only streaming service I have anymore, and that's just because I pay for it for other stuff too. So there's that. After that, my other rewatch was Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, which is a movie that came out in 2015. I watched this, I believe, when I was in college, so a couple years after it came out, and this follows these three Boy Scouts, and two of them are really not into being Boy Scouts anymore. They're in like high school. I think they're like sophomores in high school. They're not into being Boy Scouts anymore. They just, it's so uncool, them walking around their little Boy Scout uniforms. But one of them really is. He loves it. And so he is getting this big badge tonight. And so they're like, okay, we'll go, and then we'll tell him after this that we don't want to be Boy Scouts anymore. And these are the only three like Boy Scouts in their entire group. Like, it's just those three. Unfortunately, the zombie apocalypse happens. So this movie is it's fun. It's gross in the way that, like, it's a horror comedy. It's gross in the way that 2015 horror comedies are. This movie also makes it so that, like, this guy, Logan Miller, he's in a lot of movies, especially after this one, but forever, whenever I see him, I'm like, oh, it's that guy from Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. That's the only way I can ever think of him. But no, I enjoy this movie. I think it's got a lot of problems that are very typical of the time, but it's funny. It's fun. It's real gross. It's real gross. But no, I think it's very entertaining, and I really, really enjoy it. Then I watched for the first time Parenthood you can tell I'm used to doing book stuff, that came out in 1989. The only reason I watched this is because it has Keanu Reeves in it, and I'm still, my journey of watching literally everything Keanu Reeves has ever been in started when I was in college, and it's still ongoing. This is the first time I've seen this one. Keanu Reeves plays like a loser boyfriend for one of these characters. And basically what Parenthood is about is it's this movie about these three families. They're all like related. They're kind of like a Modern Family situation where we follow these three adult siblings and all of their kids and all their relationships with their kids, and how their poor relationship with their father really affected their relationships with their children. I guess they're technically four. I always forget about the guy who has like one kid and just kind of drops them off and dips. But no, it's about, you know, parenting, being a parent, the struggles and stuff like that. I am not a parent. I'm old enough to be a parent. I'm turning 27 this year, which is fucking nuts. But I'm not a parent. I am an elementary school teacher though, so I know what kids are like. But no, it was okay. It was decent. I don't think I would have watched it if it didn't have Keanu Reeves in it. I just don't think it would have really interested me at all. But I did watch it because it does have Keanu Reeves in it, and he looks pretty great. So there's that. Then I watched, this one was really exciting and fun, Needful Things, which came out in 1993. This is based off the Stephen King book of the same name. This is my VHS copy. So I recently reread Needful Things 2 as well. And it's one of my favorite Stephen King books. Basically what Needful Things is, it was touted as the last Castle Rock story. That wasn't true because Stephen King can't stay away from Castle Rock or any of his creepy little towns. But it's about this new store that opens up and it will give you anything you want and it's gonna be real cheap. You just got to do a certain favor, and just the buildup in the novel is insane. It's one of my, like I said, it's one of my favorite Stephen King books. And this one, surprisingly, like the novel's big. It's one of those like 700 pages, and this movie's like 2 hours long, I want to say. Yeah, it's 120 minutes long. It's 2 hours long, and a surprising amount of stuff from the novel was fit into here. Obviously, they had to cut some stuff out, but it was surprisingly book accurate. I could enjoy it. I mean, there wasn't any Ace Merrill, which was kind of sad. But, you know, there was, I really, Norris Ridgwick, my favorite part of the novel was all the stupid cops, because they were all, like, really ridiculous in different ways. This one, they kind of put them all into Norris, like, they just made him an amalgamation of all the ones except for Alan Pangborn. I loved it. No, it was a fun time. It's one, like I said, it's one of my favorite Stephen King novels. It's a good adaptation, especially as far as Stephen King adaptations go. And speaking of Stephen King adaptations, the last thing I watched, it was on Amazon Prime. It came out in 2021. It is Pennywise, the story of it, which is a documentary about the making of the original 1990s It TV miniseries. And I didn't know that George Romero was originally attached to the project, but they wouldn't let him make it as long and as detailed as he wanted it to, and so he quit. And now I'm just thinking about how fucking great that would have been if we would have had a George A. Romero directed, like, he wanted like 8 hours. He wanted like 12 hours. I'm like, 12 hours of George A. Romero's It? That would have been the greatest thing ever created. I'm so sad that didn't happen. But it was really fun seeing all the kids grown up. Like, I'm gonna put a picture of what the kid who played Eddie Kaspbrak as a kid looks like now, and I'm like, oh, like, that's Eddie, I guess. But no, it was good. It was cool. I did like when the guy who played the Patrick Coxeter character talked about how, like, he's so confused about what character he's playing because he's like in the credits, and like when I was doing it, like I was Patrick, I'm Patrick, and then people come to me like, oh, I love that you're Victor. I'm like, I'm not Victor, I'm Patrick. And it's like, because it's because, you know, that was the Victor character, but they just put Patrick Coxeter's name on him for some goddamn reason. But no, it was a good time. I do love the original It. It makes me cry every single time, which is so stupid because I cry at the end, and then they're playing this fucking circus music, and I'm like, I'm crying to circus music right now, which really should be the title of my autobiography, is Crying to Circus Music. But no, I watched it. It was a fun time. It did make me want to rewatch the original miniseries, which I believe I have on VHS in my stacks of movies I have to watch, so I will probably be rewatching that at some point. But yeah, no, it was a good time. So yeah, these plus that It documentary are the last 5 movies or TV shows I've watched. That's all for today. I'll talk to you later, and goodbye.